All right, the retail flat rate in dollars in first class mail weighing up to 5 pounds could be computed by the piecewise constant function f, where x is the number of ounces. Evaluate f of 2,2.3 and f of 5. Interpret. Sketch a graph. Well, they're wanting to, so let's go ahead and sketch a graph. Let me turn the light off up here. All right, so we got point, let's see, let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then x is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And 0.9 from 0 to 1. Now, does this one have an equal sign under it? This one does not have an equal sign under it, so it's an open circle. So 0 to 1 at 0.9. So 0.9 is right here, and we got an open circle from 0 to 1. And then, of course, we've got, and this is just to give you an idea of what it looks like. And you could punch these in to your calculator and put the domains on them, but it's just a lot of time, so it's pretty much there. You might want to be, might want to just sketch it. And then we've got an open circle on 1.2, so 1.12, so there's 1.1, open circle from 1 to 2, and a closed. And then from 1.34, so there's 1.1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to have an open circle, and there, that's 3 to 4, I think, or 2 to 3, 2 to 3. And then 3 to 4 is 1.56. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1.56, there to there. And then 1.78 from 4 to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. It's going to be there to there. So of course that's what it looks like, and it says evaluate f of 2.3. Well, f of 2.3 means that we're going to plug in x is equal to what? 2.3. 2.3 is going to be right in here. It's going to fall on this line right here. So that's going to be what? The second one, which is 1.12. So that's 1.12. And then f of 5, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. F of 5 is going to be the top one at 1.78. Okay? Or you could either look over here and say, well, 2.3 is going to be right in here. So it's going to be constant at 1.34. I got it wrong because I got my graph is not right. So that's 2.34. Sorry. 2.34. That's why you got to do the graph right. And 1.78, 5 be right here, and that's 1.78. So you can just do it by the graph, or you can do it by the algebra or the nomenclature, either one. Sketch a graph. What is the domain of f? Well, the domain of f, it starts at 0. Does it touch 0? No. So it'd be from 0 to what? 5, and it includes 5. So from 0 to 5. The range is going to be from 0.9 to what? Well, it's going to be it's going to encase 0.9, so that's going to be 0.9, and then since it's dots, it's going to be 1.12 dot 1.34 comma dot 1.56 dot 1.78. Why is it broken up? It's broken up because you jump from here to here to here to here to here, going up. Okay, it's like steps. Capiche? So that would be F of 2.3, I said, was 1.34, and 1.78, and here to here, interpret 2.3. Well, we just did that. 1.34. Why are they doing this? And 2. What was the other one? 2.3. Oh, is it backwards? Which one is it? 1.78. Thank you. Okay, I guess they just want you to put it in context. And it looks like C. That's the answer. If I was to give you a piecewise function on the test, which I very rarely do, it would be one like this. Okay? So is it a possible test question? Yes, but not one that I put on all the time. Okay? So there you go. I don't put very many piecewise functions on there. Thank you, Mr. Bays.
Yep.
2.6, 87/8. 87/8. Test question, yes. So find f of x and g of x such that h of x is equal to fog, f of composed of g. So that means whatever f is, I'm going to write it in a set of parentheses. So whatever f of x is, we don't know what f of x is, I'm going to write it in a set of parentheses. And g of x is going to be what I actually what? Plug into f of x. Everybody with me? So let's look at the function. It says that h of x is equal to 4 minus 3x quantity squared. So it looks like that f of x is going to be quantity what? Squared. And then g of x is going to be what? Whatever I plug into the function. So that would be 4 minus what? 3x. So what would f of g be? I would take the 4 minus 3x and do what? Plug it into that, and that would be h of x. So if I did f composed of g of x, then I would get parentheses 4 minus 3x quantity squared, which is equal to h of x. So therefore, f of x is equal to what squared? X squared, and g of x is equal to what? 4 minus 3x. So you kind of have to think backwards. And you got that part right. F of x is equal to x squared.
That's not my work.
Huh?
It's not my work.
Okay. So I would put x squared here. And then 4 minus, oh, is that it? That's all you got to do is just do f of x? I thought you had to do g of x too. Okay. So this would be x squared also. So f of x is equal to x squared, g of x is equal to 4 minus 3x. Now, you will see this on the test, so get used to it. Next question. Mr. Bays has decided to send us some questions, so we'll go over 2.243/8. 2.243/8. Yes, test question. Very much. Probably 60% of the test is this one right here. So, first of all, we've got a square root function. A square function. So what does a square function look like? Turn to your family of graphs in your notebook. What is it? It's a parabola, Hubert. That's right, class.
Parabola.
Thank you. All right, so that's x squared. They want you to do x squared, or they want you to do use translation of one of the basic functions, or to sketch the graph by hand. Okay, x minus 4. So is that 4 connected to the function? Yes. It's inside the parentheses, right? So that's the horizontal shift of 4 to the what? Always the opposite. 4 to the what? To the right. So that'd be 1, 2, 3. Well, horizontal shift of 4 to the right. And that's your answer. Okay, remember, when is the only time it's opposite? This is the only time. Horizontal shift is 4 to the right. Now, what are the two things that you have to know here? You have to know two things. You have to know those parent graphs. Everybody should have those parent graphs right in front of them. Parent graphs. There's what, 8 or 10 of them? And then 2, you have to know that the horizontal shift is always the what? Opposites. Now, what would it have been like if you had a vertical shift? Then it would look like this. Y is equal to x minus 4 quantity squared plus 2. Here, the number is attached to the function. The function is x what? Squared. It's inside that function. It is with that function. The negative 4 is with that function. The positive 2 is not with that function. The positive 2 is added after the what? The function. Here's the function right here. The 4 is inside the function. If 4 is inside the function, that's like putting salt in the ice machine. If you put salt in the ice machine, and then you put Kool-Aid in the ice machine, what's going to happen? You're going to get salted Kool-Aid ice. Okay? The 4 is in the function. Next. Did we get that one right? Let's check to see so we can feel good about ourselves so we won't wear sunglasses.
So why do they give you all the stuff in the question? X squared, the x to the third.
They're telling you, use your parent graphs.
That's all that means?
That's all that means.
Okay.
Use your parent graphs.
Okay.
Now you feel good about yourself.
I always feel good about myself.
That's why you don't wear sunglasses inside. 2.247/9. I wear my sunglasses at night. All right.
Who sings that?
I don't know. It's a one-hit wonder. Who sings it?
I don't know.
Okay. All right. So, x minus 7. Is the 7 attached to the x?
Yes.
Yes. So it's 7 horizontal shift. So it's a parabola. Not a parabola, but a what?
Don't tell
A
me.
cubic function. Huh?
Don't tell me. I want to find out what it looks like.
You want to find out what it is? Okay. Look in your parent graphs.
Yeah.
Squiggly.
Maybe I should give y'all the parent graphs and y'all put it in your notebook.
I got them on them. Chill out.
Okay.
Can we have our notebook?
Okay.
No. You just sit at home and you sit in the closet and you don't use any notebooks.
Know what I do wrong.
Okay, there you go. There's your function. And then you got a horizontal shift of 7 to the what?
Left.
7 to the right.
As long as this one opposite.
It's always.
Always. All of them are opposite.
Okay.
Not just square.
Do y'all even pay attention to what I tell y'all?
I was just.
Do y'all remember me writing down all these things right here? And I said,
Russians.
f of x, the Russians, did they hit you over the head?
I know you talk about it a lot.
A times x plus h, quantity squared plus k. And then I wrote f of x is equal to a, absolute value of h plus k.
So if it has plus something at the end of it, it's a
2
vertical shift.
plus k. And then I have f of x is equal to a times x plus h to the third power plus k. Okay? All of these functions are family graphs. This is a parabola. This is a absolute what? Absolute value. This is a what? A squiggle like this. Okay? Or to the 5th power, or to the 7th power, or to the 9th power, or to the 11th power. It's going to look like this.
Oh,
I thought I wrote these down. Y'all might want to write them down in y'all's notebook. A square root of x plus h
I do have it wrote down.
plus k.
It makes me feel
Quit
bad.
berating us.
You know what y'all might want to do when y'all go home is read over the things in your notebook.
I've got it.
That might help.
You're crazy. How do you read math?
Y'all suck. All right.
All right. Now, if you've got a +2 at the end of it, like you did on the previous problem,
That's
a vertical shift.
Yeah.
So if there's
No, it's always what it is. Remember, I said, again, the only time that is the opposite is the horizontal shift.
you realize with all the questions I'm asking you that just saying that over and over again isn't helping.
Yeah. Maybe I should put it on video. All right, next. Let's go over another one.
You should set up
You know, I should. Maybe I should set up a YouTube account and put some videos on there. And then y'all could maybe go over it in your notebook with the videos. Wow. I might try that in the future. Maybe by 2024 I'll do that.
That would take a lot of work though.
Yeah, it would. A lot of work. 2.2, 48/10. Miss Shuttleworth, pay attention, please. Okay. Oh my gosh, we got absolute value,
It's
so
a V for vodka.
might as well forget this one. We can't do this one. It looks like a what? V for vodka.
And 3 up.
You are exceptional.
Is that right?
Yep.
So
Well, why is that a vertical shift? Because it's not in the what?
there's a plus after.
It's not in the it's not in the function.
We're all.
Okay, let's do a horizontal shift.
Something might be clicking. So.
Yeah.
It's something to do with these
It's
paragraphs.
something to do with you sending in questions and me doing it and you putting it into your notebook and saying, oh, I see the relationship. X plus 4
Might be that too.
minus 2. Now, what's the
tutor.
horizontal shift?
I think they're really helping.
What's the horizontal shift? 4 to the left and 2 down. So this one would be 4 to the left and 2 down. I think I actually showed y'all that in your notes. I think I used absolute value.
See, when you were going over this, I was still stuck in the introductory to pre-algebra. So
Well, those questions should have been sent.
I was a little behind, man.
Okay, well, it's the Russians. They beat you up until you get a van.
Yeah, and maybe do math.
Yeah.
Do math.
Next one. Actually, you laugh at these questions that y'all sent in, but the 2.2s, there are a lot of them going to be on the test. So it's not a bad thing that we're going over these.
You're welcome, class.
They're not going to thank you.
I appreciate you.
All right, there you go. This is a good test question.
That's why I like
Do it. Do that one. I need sugar.
Can't do that. Against the rules. Can't give you sugar.
Not if it's the only sugar I've had all day, which it is. If you don't count the vodka, that's fermented sugar.
There you go. Turns into carbs.
Yeah.
Turn into sugar.
You know, if I was that cat that brought the red Solo cup every day, I believe I would have put a cover on it.
Well, that would have just looked guilty.
Hey, buddy, by the time he got to 12 o'clock, I just wonder what he was, I wonder if he started slurring his speech. But you got to think of it like this. If you're drinking vodka at 8 o'clock in the morning, you probably drink a gallon, it probably wouldn't hurt you.
Yeah.
Tolerance done.
Speaking to the choir.
What?
I'll start preaching.
Yeah. So this is a horizontal shift of 4 to the what? 1, 2, 3, 4, and a vertical shift of 2 up. And the family of graph is a square root function, which is a line. I don't say the other word. The line that goes to the right. So which one does it look like?
A.
A. Now remember, there is a stupid question out there that puts the negative inside the radical, and then there's another one that puts it on the outside. Now I try to stay away from the one on the inside because that can confuse you. But if it was outside, which way would it be going? It would be B. Okay? If it was outside, if the negative was outside the radical. Now, you'll have to go back and look at the videos or do the homework or look in your notes. We went over it several days ago, and it had the negative x, and that just changes it. It flips it and goes the other direction. Okay? So, if it has a negative on the outside of the radical, then it would look like that. Okay? And that's the one I would give you on a test. I would give you either this one with a positive outside the radical, or I'll give you this one with a negative on the outside of the radical. But this one's a positive, so it's this one. And again, match it up with your family of graphs. Pay attention, Miss Shuttleworth. I'm not going to let you Skype in if you keep playing at home. Okay? At least you ain't got a freaking dog barking in the back. Oh, we got some new questions. Thank you, class. Who sent those in? Somebody raise their hand. Who sent those? Thank you. You Miss Crocker? Are you Miss Crocker?
No.
Yeah, he's in this class.
Okay, you're Miss Baker?
Yes.
Okay, who's Mr. Crocker?
Check your 5, man. Check your 5.
Oh, thank you. Oh, I thought it was somebody up there, but that would be Pendleton. I'm sorry. Baker, thank you, Miss Baker. This is 2.5, number 1 / oh, he didn't even do his homework. He just let me do it. Number 1, and that is 2.5. It's another piecewise function, isn't it? Yeah, these suck. The graph of f of x gives the speed limit y along rural highway after traveling x miles, and how many people you hit. Complete parts A through D. What is the speed limit at 16-mile mark? Dang old 16 mile, dang old right here.
Feet.
It's what? What's
Feet.
colored?
Yeah,
Feet.
It's what?
Feet.
50. 50.
50.
50 cents.
50.
Okay?
good job.
Turn, y'all actually have a good personality. That's great. Estimate the miles of highway with speed limit of 40 miles per hour. So you take the dang old 40. We got one at 6 to 8 and 12 to 16.
I'm going 12.
What?
12.
What'd I say?
That's what I'm saying. I'm telling you it's 12. That's what I'm going.
He's locking his answer in at 12.
Well, actually, 6 to 8 has one too. 6 to 8 and 12 to 16. I don't know
Yeah,
what
but
they
12
want.
But it
I'm just going to put 3. See what they want because it's got 2. It's 8 to 6, but it doesn't include, 6 to 8, but it doesn't include 8. So I don't know how they want it unless they just want,
If it doesn't include 8, how would it?
but it includes 6 and 7.
But it includes 12 as
Well, that's what we're fixing to say. So they're just going to say
Oh, it was 6.
6 miles
That doesn't make sense.
because that, but I don't know why they're,
12 though.
I don't know why they're not including 12. Let me see. Estimate the miles of highway with a speed limit. Oh, no, 12 to 16 is 4. Okay, distance. Distance. That's what they're saying. Okay, that could be a confusing statement to some people because some people would say from 2 to 8 miles and then 12 to 16. You're wanting it like that, or they're saying add up the miles.
Oh, so
Add them up. So you were looking the same way I was. You were thinking from this point to this point, and then this point to this point. Some people would look at it and say, oh, they just want the distance. That's what they're wanting, the distance. So what is
2 plus 4 miles.
2 plus 4? Exactly, 6. So I could understand why I was confused by looking at it that way. If they said, what is the distance? Then I think it would have been a whole lot easier for students See, evaluate f of 5. F of 5 is going to be 40, right?
Yeah.
F of 11 is going to be 50, and F of 13 is going to be 40. So 40, 50, and 40. 40. Okay. I guess not. Let's look again. Can I not see? F of 5.
Right.
F of 5.
Need some help, I know a bit too.
It's 45. 45.
But it's not included.
No, it's not included. That's not inclusive. Okay, wait a minute. No, I see. You got it. I'm thinking this is 6. I'm sorry.
Oh.
4, 5. 5 is right here, not right here. 4, 5. So 5 would be 45. Thank you.
Good job.
My bad. My mistake.
Good job, fellas.
You ever looked at a graph and think it's units of 1 and it's units of 5? Well, I thought it was units of 2. My bad. I suck, and I should just quit. No, what I should do is put smokestacks on my truck. Then I'll feel better about myself. F of 11.
I finally saw a truck with those things on it.
Don't it look
We're
stupid?
talking about coming out in the back.
It looks stupid.
Back of the cab.
Why is it there?
It's cool, man.
Yeah, it makes my truck look mean. That's what one guy told me.
It was like on an Isuzu or something.
You're an idiot.
40 more horsepower.
No, you don't get no daggum horsepower. That's a bunch of bull crap. 40. Actually, the only reason there is smokestacks is because in the 50s and 60s, the gas-powered trucks, before they went to diesel, they would blow out emissions in the car because there was no air conditioning and people rolled down their windows.
Like 18-wheelers.
Exactly. And they finally, who's in charge of all the federal transportation, FT, whatever. So, no, not emissions. The transportation department,
NTS.
DOT, Department of Transportation, decided to take those exhaust pipes and put them up on the 18-wheelers so that you wouldn't fumigate the people beside you at a red light.
Well, that was nice of them.
But it has nothing to do with torque or power or nothing. It has to do with if you're have no hair or you're vertically challenged or you're challenged in other places as well. Low self-esteem. Okay, next. The graph is discontinuous. Well, it's discontinuous at a bunch of places, but let's see. It's discontinuous at, it's discontinuous here, it's discontinuous here, it's discontinuous here.
It's 4, 6, 8, 12.
I'm just gonna hit 3 because I'm gonna see if they want all of them. I don't, unless they want all of them.
They do. They want all of them.
Oh God, I'm not typing all those in. Okay, 4, 6, 8, 12, and 16. That's why I don't like piecewise functions, because you just do a lot of repetitive stuff. What happens at each the speed limit changes. So it changes here from 45 to 40, then from 40. Now, I will tell you this, though. Does anybody have any idea where you see this in engineering school? I'm just telling. I'm telling you. Does anybody have any guess?
Oh, I'm thinking.
We said it a while ago. Where you stop at a what?
Traffic light.
Traffic lights. That's where you see this. You see this in traffic engineering. And no, it's stop times. You see a piecewise function. You see this in piecewise. You see piecewise functions in traffic engineering because you're looking at the stop time between this red light and this red light, and then this red light and this red light, and that's why you look at. And it's some in some municipalities you got a whole chart of nothing but 50 or 60 piecewise functions. That's where you see the most of them, and of course you see it here with traffic. So. Okay, which one is it? I'm just going to let y'all answer because I'm not going to read all that. It's the speed limit changes. Here it changes, here it changes, here it increases, here it decreases, here it increases. So it changes. Which one? B, the speed limit changes, that all discontinuous, yes. Okay, except for a couple of those, I like the question. I like A, B, and C. But I wouldn't give you that on the test. I give you that first one on the test, the first piecewise we had, but not the second one. This is 2.623/11. Thank you, Miss Baker. This is a test question. Yes. So go ahead and write it down and do it. If f of x is equal to 5x plus 3 and g of x is equal to 4x minus 7, find f plus g of x, f minus g of x, f times g of x, f divided by g of x, f composed of g, and g composed of f.
That's your fancy word.
Or you can just add, subtract, multiply, and divide the equation. Just like you did back in pre-algebra. This is pre-algebra over here on the right. 5x plus 3, and then you've got 4x minus 7. And then they want you to add, subtract, multiply, divide, and then they want you to substitute.
All right.
What?
All right.
So
Fancy voice.
you don't use the fancy voice. You use the fancy voice when you put the f of x in front of it. It's kind of like the cars parked in the yard.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. When you're trying to impress somebody. Not when you're getting beat up and thrown in a van. So we're going to do this. It's going to happen in 2018. 5x plus 3. Don't ain't much weight. 5x plus 3 plus 4x minus 7. I don't even distribute because the positive 1 is not going to affect anything. 5x plus 4x is what? And 3 minus 7? Negative 4. So this is going to be f plus g of x is equal to 9x minus what? 4? And that's from combining these two, and these two, and then these two right here. Now we're going to subtract using pre-algebra. 5x plus 3. And then I'm going to put a minus in front of this parenthesis. Why am I worried about that minus? Because you're going to change the signs because you got to distribute. So that's going to be 5x minus 4x is what? Hold on a second. That's going to be what? X. And then what's 3 plus 7? So now we go back to pre-algebra and we're going to use our FOIL method. Pronounce however you would like. What?
Foil.
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 Foil. Hey, Mr. McClure, I do not understand what you are saying. I read that as foil. Yes, ma'am. Whatever you say.
Sir, I'm a man.
I don't understand that, Mr. McClure. Please excuse my daring Sally. I've never heard that. I've heard it called PIMDAS. People like that, they need a girlfriend or a boyfriend or both. Oh, I don't understand that. I understand PIMDAS.
Yes.
20x squared minus 35x plus 12x minus 21. And somebody do negative 35 plus 12 be negative what? 13? Somebody check me. F times g of x is equal to, well, what's 20x squared? And that'd be negative what, 13? That was negative 23. Thank you. Negative 23 x minus 21. Now, my whole purpose of going back to pre-algebra is to let everybody know that what? They know how to do this. Just the way they write it makes you lobotomized. F divided by G of X. Well, go back to pre-algebra. I don't think we're going to be able to do anything. You're not. Why? Because they're married to each other. The 5x and the 3, they're married, and the 4x minus 7, so you can't cancel anything because they're together. So you just put 5x plus 3 over 4x minus 7. That's all you can do. So now let's go back to pre-algebra and do the substitution. Because you did that back solving systems of equations, which we'll do in Unit 4. But you also did it in Algebra 2, which got you ready for this class. So I'm going to rewrite, when I have f of g, f I'm going to rewrite with parentheses, and what am I going to do with g? I'm going to plug it in. So f is this one, so that's going to be 5 parentheses plus 3 and 4x minus 7. And then what's g of f? G, I'm going to rewrite as parentheses, and I'm going to plug in what? I'm going to plug in f. So 4 times parentheses minus 7 and that's going to be 5x plus 3. That woman was in, did I tell y'all the story about that woman? She was in the first semester I taught algebra. And I taught it in Pickens 122. You know where the ramp is? It goes down this way and down this way. It's right in front of that ramp. That was my classroom. And she was in there. There was about 6 Bubbas and Bubbettes in there. They were from like West Oak High School. And then there was some people from Anderson in there. And then there was this woman. And this woman thought it was funny to make fun of everybody's accent. She made fun of all the Bubbas. She made fun of all the Bubbettes. She made fun of me. She made fun of all the people from Anderson that spoke legitimate English. Okay? Not country like me. But the whole point was she made fun of everybody the whole semester. Then we got to the FOIL method, and I about had enough of it. And I finally said FOIL, and I just said FOIL, and she went, "Oh, Mr. McClure, I understand. You mean foil." And when she said foil like that, she was from Pennsylvania, and she had the nasal thing going on. So she said foil, and she said that's the way it sounded. And the whole class busted out laughing. She ran out crying, and she never came back. 2 days later, her books were gone. They stayed on she never came back. 2 days later, her books were gone, so evidently she never did drop the class, so I gave her a big F, and I really enjoyed that because she deserved it. And she was like, she could dish it out, but she couldn't what? She couldn't take it. So, and I didn't laugh at her. Those Bubbettes and Bubbas, they laughed at her when she said boing. So, there's always somebody that's going to dish it, can dish it out, but they can't take it. She was a snowflake, big time. I can make fun of you, but don't make fun of me. 20x minus 35 plus 3, and what's 35 plus 3? What's negative 35 plus 3? Good job. You are smart. I hear you. 20x minus 32. And then here you've got 20x plus 12 minus 7, and that comes out to be 20x what?
5.
Plus 5. And y'all have just done all those functions of f that you learned back in pre-algebra. So don't let the nomenclature or the way it's written confuse you. Just remember, fog, you're going to rewrite f with big parentheses and plug in g. Golf, you're going to rewrite G with big parentheses and plug in F. I'm not going to write all those in there, so just take my word for it. Those are right.
You said this will be test questions and stuff?
This will be a test question, yes. Make sure you put a highlight on this one.
What?
No, then you would put it in your notebook, and y'all never look at your notebook, so.
Well, no.
Yeah, what's a notebook? Just take a picture of it and look at it on your phone. Last one we got for today, 2.6, number 23 in the book, number 11 online. Another test question. I'll let y'all do this one. Make sure you hold your pinkies up. Now, the only one that you really don't have to work at is the division. So that's the one that nobody should miss. If you do miss it, don't what? Don't tell anybody. Because that one, you don't have to do anything. So that's division. Addition is 9x minus what? Subtraction, you have to distribute that negative, which makes the negative 4x and positive 7. And that's going to give you x plus what? 9. And then you use the FOIL method. 5x, that's 20x squared, minus 35x, plus 8x minus 14. And that's going to be 20x squared. Negative 35 plus 8 is what? 27? Check my math there. I'm terrible with subtraction. Or I'm terrible with negatives. And then division is that right there. Now, why do I not do it more fancy? Because this, again, is what you learned back in pre-algebra and algebra 1. So why, if it ain't broke, don't what? Don't fix it. Been doing it that way for years, and there's no other way to really do it. Now, it says give the domain of each. We didn't do that in the last one, but I'm not worried about the domain of any of these except for one. Which one? Oral Horatio. Which one? Oral Horatio. Ratio. Which one's a ratio? Which one's a fraction?
F divided by G's of X.
You cannot have a 0 in the denominator, so you got to set that equal to 0. 4x minus 7 is equal to 0. That's going to give you 7/4. So you cannot plug in 7/4. So x cannot equal 7/4. So the domain on at least these four functions are all real numbers, except on this one you cannot use what? 7/4. Because 7/4 would give you a what in the denominator? 0. Remember, polar Horatio and radical. Whenever you have a radical to the even power, you can't have what under a radical? Even radical. What can you not have under an even radical? A negative. Good. Write that down. You might want to write that in your notebook, since all you have these notebooks. And then you can refer back to it when you're at home. That's a good idea. All right, now we do our plugging and chugging. So when you write in fog, when you're doing fog, you write F with big what? Parentheses. When you're doing golf, you write G with parentheses. So here we go with F. F is 5 times parentheses plus 2. And then golf is going to be 4 times parentheses minus 7. And what are we going to plug in here? Good. And what are we going to plug in here? Good
5x
job.
plus 2.
Y'all are actually listening and interacting. Thank you. 5 times 4 is 20x minus 35 plus what? 2? 20x minus what? 33.
What?
20x plus 8 minus 7. 20x minus 8 or plus 7 minus 1. Thank you. 20x plus 1. All real numbers. Why are they all real numbers? Because they're not a ratio and they're not a radical
What did you say a second ago? You can't have 0
in the denominator.
Of
Fraction. Denominator fraction.
radical.
Radical, you can't have a negative.
Oh.
You can take the square root of 0. The square root of 0 is 0. Thank you for the question, though. The interaction is real good. Y'all are improving. Okay, next question. Or we got any more? Then we can go to the test.
No.
Yeah, we can go to the
I
test
got
now.
questions, man.
No. I know what you're doing now. Now you're stalling.
No. Discuss that, and that's wrong.
What?
We discussed that. That is.
Oh, well, if DC does it, then anybody should do it.
This is important stuff, man.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You touched my butt. In high school.
Would that give me?
Yeah, that's another thing. High school? Really? Okay.
Yeah, like 40 years ago.
What doesn't go on in high school? Okay? Really? He touched me. Okay, whatever. There's a picture of little boy kissing a little girl. You know, they're about 5 or 6 years old. I guess they sexually harassment. Whatever.
It's all about it.
Where did it happen? I can't remember. When did it happen? Well, I was in high school. I can't remember when it happened. Okay, where did it happen? It was at a party, but I was drunk and I can't remember. So you're going to accuse somebody and you can't remember anything.
I want your money.
Yeah, it's called I want a book deal. All right. Any questions on those questions? Because that's all the questions I got. Nobody's sent any more. So we're going over the test now. So let's look at the test because I've got 30 minutes because the class is not over till 11. So those of you that go into convulsions, we've got plenty of time. So let's go to the Math 110. There we are. And I'm going to go into Course tools.
Do you know my lab was phone number?
Yeah, I gave you that. Y'all put it in y'all's notebook a while back.
It is?
Yeah, it's in there. Yeah, you'll have to look through your notebook and see. It's also on the handout that says My Labs Plus.
I might need to get
Yeah. All right, test number 1. There it is. So I'm going to go to Select. I'm going to go to Edit. And we're going to go to Next. And let's see, today is the 26th, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that means I'm going to start the test on the 26th. That means it's going to end on the 3rd. Let's see, check that again. 26, yeah, 3rd. So that means you have a week to take the test. You have 3 times to take it. Why did I give y'all so many days? And
Because the more we do it, the more we practice.
well, the more you do it, the more you practice. Yeah.
Realize our limitations.
And 5 dead grandmothers and 5 flat tires, and the house struck the lightning, and the lightning struck the house, and the dog's sick, and
The house struck the light.
yeah, the lightning struck the house, and the house struck the lightning. Okay, so that's done. So now let's go over to, I'll have to do this for all the classes also. So now let's go over to the homework. This is Pendleton right now. Go to the homework, and I will go to change dates, and I'll go to orientation, review, 1, 2, and 6. Now go over to the due date, and I always give y'all 1 more day to ask questions. So that means that it will cut off on Monday. So therefore, you still got 2 days to what? You got 2 days to finish the test after you send your questions in. I always do that on all my classes, on every one. So the next 3 units, that's what I'll do. So now, when you go to main menu, and where's the calendar? Does it come up, or course home? Does it come up at course home?
It's the assignments.
Yeah, look over there.
You've got
Okay.
78.
It's under assignments. It comes under assignments, I guess. Now, if you have a question about when something is due, where do you go? You go to My Labs Plus. You go to assignments, and look at there. It says 10-3. Look at there. So now you can do that. Another thing you can do is click on, I have to do this because you click on the actual test, and it'll ask you if you want to start. But above it, it has the test due date. You don't have to start the test. You can just go on here and look. 3 attempts. You have 105 minutes left, so evidently we went over this before. Okay, start test. Now, some of the more complicated ones I'm not going to go through. Find the difference quotient for the functions f of x is equal to 8x plus 6, and simplify it. Remember the difference quotient. Remember I told you. It's very important. So this is about the 2nd or 3rd one I've done. F of x plus h minus f of x over h. And what did I tell you about this? This was your first unit test in calculus. Half of it, at least. So that means I'm going to rewrite my formula, and I'm going to put a big set of parentheses right here, plus 6, minus f of x, which is your formula, 8x plus 6. And I'm going to put all that over what? H. And what am I going to plug into that big set of parentheses? That's, you're talking about composition. What am I going to plug in?
X squared.
I just did it in red.
X plus H.
X plus H, good. All right, now finish it. Now it's just 100% algebra. Distribute the 8, distribute the negative, Cancel out. The only thing that should be left is what terms?
The H
The
term.
H terms, yes. The H terms should be the only thing left. 8x plus 8h plus 6 minus 8x minus 6. And what should happen to all the non-h terms? That's what should happen. If you don't cancel out all the x terms at least, sometimes the other one stays, but sometimes most of your x terms will cancel. And sometimes your numbers will cancel. Sometimes they won't, but most of the time they will. And then you're left with all h terms. 8h over what? Which is, and the derivative of 8x plus 6 is 8. We'll get to that later. So the answer is 8. And the reason I'm going over that one, and it is involved, I said I wasn't going, is because it's important. Very important, especially for those that's going to calculus. You need to mark these pages with different quotient on it, and you need to put little tabs on them because you're going to see them over and over and over your first unit in calculus. Which one is the answer? The only one that equals what? And that's what?
8.
This is the one you don't tell anybody if you miss. Okay, use the expression. All right, you've got g of x here. You've got f of x here. Now, remember I told you can do it two different ways. But what is f of 1? And I'm going to blow it up for you. I like this feature. You can keep blowing it up even the short bus size. I rode the short bus, so I can say that. I rode it for 2 weeks. My mama came up to the complained and told me to get me off the short bus. They thought something was wrong with me. Ain't that bad? They just stick you on, back then they just stuck you on the short bus.
If
Huh?
stuck you on the short bus. If.
Yeah. Well, they did.
What did you do?
I didn't do anything. Well, I did set the jack-o'-lantern on fire. I did do
There
that.
you go. There it is.
But that was no reason to send me to the office ever to look at a Do-So the dolphin, but they did that too and stuck me on the short bus.
Do so.
Do-So the dolphin. Come out, Do-So, come out again. And you look up, you can Google Do-So. It's actually on the internet. Do-So, D-U-S-O. Do something and something others or something. I think it worked well with others or something like that.
I went to the office. They just hit me.
No, I didn't have disciplinary problems because I was scared of my daddy. All right. Scared of my mama too with that switch. Anyway, but I'm all right now. I'm all violent and everything because
I'm good. My parents.
Yeah, my parents beat me
I'm
in.
good now.
Whatever.
I'm not afraid anymore.
Yeah. So, what's f of 1? What's f of 1? So you look at your handy dandy graph. I don't know why it won't. I won't have to shrink it down a little bit. Okay. What's f of 1? F of 1 is negative what? 3. So put negative 3 in blue. And then at g of 1, what is g of 1? G of 1 is 0. And then you add, I'm going to put the add in black because there. And what's negative 3 plus 0? Negative 3. Negative 3. So A is negative 3. Now you do B. This time you got to go to X is equal to negative 1. Oh, now you see how it works. Yeah, it'd be good if I did this in class, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah, I don't know why I don't do them in class. I think I did 2 of these. All right.
Teachers used to tell me to study, it helps. But
Yeah, you look at notes and, -1, what's f of -1? -3. And then g of -1 is what?
-0.
-0. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Amped about it.
Which one is the kid which one is the kid in all the jokes? All the teacher jokes? Johnny. Is it Johnny?
Johnny D.
Johnny always says, Johnny, 0. And then you subtract, or subtract, you still get -3. Okay? Now, f times g of 0. So now we go to f of 0. And f of 0 is what? -2. And then what's g of 0? G of 0 is what? 1. That's times. And what's -2 times 1? -2. So our answer is -3, -3, and -2. And f of 0, again, is what? -2. And what's -2 divided by -1? Is it 1 or +1? +1. It's -2. So that should be your answers there. And that's a good question because we just went over it a couple of times.
That's one of those questions you know.
Yeah, this is one of those questions I told you to put in your notebook, and I said it's a good test question. Yeah. No, I just give questions just off the boat, just don't even have anything to do with what I went over in class. Given the graph of the function, sketch the graph of the function describe f of x plus 4. All right, this is f of x. Here we go again. Let's go up here and let's do, okay, f of x is sitting at, the vertex is 0, right? Vertex is 0, comma, what is that? 5, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So that's at 1, 0 and 1. So what is the 4 connected to the function? What does that mean? Negative. So it's going to be in the first or second quadrant? It's going to be in the second quadrant.
Sorry.
Oh, such a disappointment. No wonder you're going to fail this class. Next. Where's the submit button?
You bring my confidence down.
What?
You bring my confidence down.
That's what I'm supposed to do.
Maybe we can file.
There's another one. 2x to the third. Go to it. Ooh, this one's going to be a bear. Yeah, I'd quit on this one.
All right.
2 parentheses to the third power, bracket, that's f of x plus h, minus f of x, which is 2x cubed, over h. And what are we going to plug in there?
2x to the third.
Nope.
Wait, what? X plus h.
X plus h. Pay attention, Miss Shuttleworth.
Right.
Now we got a problem. Now we got to multiply x plus h 3 times. Well, shortcut number 1 gives us half of it. So I'm going to rewrite it, and I'm going to write 2, and then I'm going to write in blue, I'm going to write x plus h, quantity squared, and then I'm going to write x plus h, minus 2x to the third over h. Now you have to expand the blue, which would be x squared plus 2xh plus h squared, because you know shortcut number 1. And then you have to distribute the x and the h. So go ahead and do that. So I'm going to do it one more step for you. I'm going to put the blue in one more step. X squared plus 2xh plus h squared. That's your shortcut, number 1. And then I'm going to plug the rest of it in, 2. And then x plus h. And then minus 2h to the third over h. And then that's going to give me 2. And then I'm going to get x to the third plus 2x squared h plus xh squared plus x squared h plus 2xh squared plus h to the third minus 2x to the third, all that over h. Now let's combine like terms. First of all, x to the third is not going to have anything there, so that's going to be x to the third. Okay, we're looking for x squared h. Do we have another x squared h anywhere? Yes, right here, Hubert. That's 3x squared h. Do we have an xh squared anywhere? Right here. So that's 2, that'd be 3xh squared plus h cubed minus 2x cubed over h. Now distribute the 2, and that's going to give us 2x cubed plus 6x squared h plus 6hh squared x, plus 6xh squared plus 2h cubed minus 2x cubed all over h. And what happens there? And you're left with nothing but h terms. So you can factor out an h on top, and that's going to give you 6x squared plus 6xh plus 2h squared over h. And what happens to the h's? They cancel, and you're left with the answer. 6x squared plus 6xh plus 2h squared. Now, limit as h approaches 0. We'll take the two terms, and the derivative is 6x squared. The derivative of this function is 6x squared. 2 times 3 is 6x. 3 minus 2 is 6. So that is the derivative. So, yes, that is correct. That's a good test question. Of course, it uses nothing but algebra. The only thing new here, just like in calculus, the only thing new here is right here. This is the only thing new. The rest is all what? Is all algebra that you learned in Algebra 2 or 102. And we went over the review. That right there, we went over the review. X plus h, quantity squared. Now again, there's two people in here. There's the person that's saying, oh yeah, I can do this. There's no problem. I'm okay. Then there's the people that are going, I don't know about this. Then you need to send me questions over the weekend. And Monday is what we're going to do. Monday, what we're going to do? Over more questions. And then after Monday, you're what? You're on your own. I'm either gonna make you ask for the grease, or I'm gonna ask for the grease. One of the two.
Sounds horrible, man.
Huh? Squeaky door gets what? Grease. Unless you're a pervert. All right, and then you get nominated to the Supreme Court for touching a woman that she can't tell you where he touched her. All right. Can't remember. All right. Why can't I get this thing to work? There we go. I'm just on 5, so we're going to have to finish. We're going to have to finish next week anyway. All right, we're on number 6. Remember that we're on number 6. Y'all get out of here and have a good day.